Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the backstory. If you are new here, kindly hit that subscribe button and the notification bell down below so that you can be notified when we post a new video. Now, ladies and gentlemen, President William Ruto's government, which is the Kenya Kwanza government, today suffered a very big blow politically after the Court of Appeal declined to extend an order allowing the government to continue collecting the housing levy. The ruling was made today, and it found when President Ruto was also in a 3-day tour of the Meru region. And when that ruling was made, President Ruto reacted in a way that suggests that he is frustrated by this ruling. Remember, the expectation of Kenyans, or majority of Kenyans, after the meeting of President Ruto and the Chief Justice of Kenya, the perception that was created was that the courts were going to make rulings that are favorable to the government. And I think in President Ruto's perception as well, he felt that after that meeting, he was going to have his way in all the rulings that were going to be made by the courts. So I want you guys to listen in, and then we will analyze that video or communication by the president, because in that video he's talked about rejecting the ruling by the Court of Appeal.
Vijana, mimi nataka niwaambie wale wameenda kotini ati kuzuia hii mpango ya housing. I want to tell them there is no greater public interest than the employment of millions of citizens who for a long time have never had an opportunity to work in their country because there has been no plan on how to employ young people in Kenya. For the first time, the government of Kenya, through a popular vote in our manifesto, have a plan on how to create jobs in Kenya through the housing program. And I want to say, for the avoidance of doubt, that the housing program is the program that is going to give us jobs in manufacturing, in our cement industry, in manufacturing, in our steel industry, in ensuring that carpenters, architects, engineers, masons, steel fixers, people working in construction sites have a job. Our plan is to have 300,000 people working by the end of this year. Our plan is that we already have 130,000 people working in this plan. Mimi nataka niwaulize watu wa Meru. Si hawa vijana ni vijana wetu? Si tumewasomesha? Tuwapangie ajira, tusiwapangie? Housing hii mnataka iendelee ama tusimamishe? Iendelee? Wale wanasema iendelee, nione kwa mkono. Kwa hivyo mimi nataka niwaambie wale watu wachache wameenda kotini kwa sababu wamezoea Kenya yenye haina mpango. I want to tell the people who have gone to court, many of them have jobs. Many of them, their children have jobs. They want to deny the opportunity for millions of young people from poor families, citizens, Kenyans, young people who have never had a chance to work. They want to deny them an opportunity. I want to tell them we are on a mission to make sure that we create equity and equality in the Republic of Kenya by affording every young person an opportunity to work. Tuko pamoja ama tuko pamoja? Tunaelewana? I want to say, for the avoidance of doubt, we are already making the law that the court authorized that we go and make the law. They should have given us a chance to complete the law. But we are going to complete the law, and we are going to go forward with making sure that we create opportunities for jobs for the young people of our country, because that is what the people of Kenya want. That is the right thing to do, and that is where public interest is. Tumekubaliana jameni? Tunaelewana? Tuko pamoja ama tuko pamoja? Kuna watu wananiambia wameenda kotini ati tusimamishe ajira ya hawa vijana. Na wao wako na ajira, bibi zao wako na kazi, watoto wao wako na kazi. Ni makosa kupanga ajira ya hawa vijana maskini hapa chini? Hawa wache mchezo bwana. Hii kazi itaendelea. Iendelee isiendelee? Iendelee isiendelee? Wale wanasema mpango ya housing iendelee kuzalisha ajira ya vijana. That is the message in public participation from Meru County. Tumeelewana jameni? Tumeelewana? Tunasonga mbele. Mimi nataka kuambie vile vile, mimi nimefika hapa vile vile kwa sababu tunataka kukubaliana na nyinyi ya kwamba tayari tuko na mpango ya mambo ya universal health coverage.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you watch that video keenly, you're able to tell from the president's body language or tone that he is a frustrated man. You know, the president has been attacking the judiciary of late until a time that he met the Chief Justice, who is the president of the judiciary. And in that statement, what he only fell short of was going back to the attacks that he had been putting across against the judiciary or the judges. He just fell short of calling them corrupt. But if you've analyzed and you've listened to it, he's a frustrated man. But where is this frustration coming from? You know, this project, which is the housing fund, is like a flagship project for the president. And he feels that if he doesn't get his way, then it's like all his hopes of delivering to Kenyans is gone with the wind. But I don't think this is the reality. I don't think this is the truth. And if you ask so many Kenyans, they will tell you that they don't have a problem with the housing project itself. In fact, so many Kenyans would appreciate if the government could do housing as a project. That is the affordable housing as a project so that Kenyans can afford these houses. But the only problem that Kenyans have is the housing fund levy, the levy itself. Because if you look at the way this levy has been put across or has been fashioned, from the time of inception, this levy was supposed to be, like, it was supposed to be some kind of a contribution that you'd get back after some time. Let me say, at first they said it was 7 years, or upon retirement, whichever comes first. So many Kenyans embraced this because this was like a form of savings to them. Then after the public participation, that the parliamentary committee changed some of the things that were presented to them, they changed it into a tax. And this is where the problem is. Kenyans view this as a burden that is being added onto them without anything significant that is going to come out of it. Because you find that some of the people who are contributing to this fund are not going to be beneficiaries of the housing project as a whole. So it should have been a give and take whereby Kenyans are investing and are able to get something at the end of it. So that is one issue. And then the second issue, which I also talked about, is that the way in which this fund has been pushed down Kenyans' throat is not sitting down with Kenyans. The president should have sold this idea to Kenyans and carry them along towards the implementation of this project. Then the other issue which is also arising within the whole of this housing fund is the fact that Kenyans are looking at what has been collected so far vis-a-vis what has been built. Because if you look at the projects that are being launched by the president, some of them are being launched in very remote areas. Like yesterday, he was in Meru. If you look at the videos or the photos of where that housing project was being launched, it is in a very, very remote area of Embu. So the question Kenyans are asking is, what economic impact are these housing projects going to make in those remote areas? Because if you take, for example, take it to that region or that remote area, how many people will be willing to leave their comfort in maybe urban centers and go to those remote regions to go and stay there or live in those houses? And even if you are to buy that house and then let it out, will it make an economic sense? Will you be able to recoup your money back? And in those remote areas that the president is launching these housing projects, you find that if you looked at the areas surrounding that project, you find that you have people who have their homes. So does he want to tell Kenyans that there are people who will be leaving their homes to go and stay in those houses that are built by the government? And there is an issue that has been raised by Githunguri Member of Parliament, Gathoni Wamuchomba. Wamuchomba was interviewed yesterday by KTN, and she raised some key issues that I don't think we should take for granted.
Because the thinking behind the housing is not, to me, according to me, is not geared to solving the problem of housing. The thinking behind the housing is a means of collection of money that we desperately need to pay loans. But somebody wittingly crafted it as a housing so that people can accept it, because lack of decent housing is one of our pressing needs. To be very honest, I want any auditor who can prove me wrong to come to this show and prove me wrong. And prove to me that every single shilling that is being collected as house levy, every single shilling that is being collected as house tax is going towards housing. Because that is not true. Right now, the houses President Ruto is opening and launching, most of them were started by the previous regime, including what he came to launch here in Roiro. The houses in Roiro were started by Uhuru Kenyatta. And it is a private public partnership thing that was started earlier on. Do you want to tell me that the money that we have been charged as house levy has been used to build Roiro houses? Do you want to tell me that the houses that he has launched in Kibera was not started by Uhuru Kenyatta? And Uhuru Kenyatta did not ask us for house levy?
Now, ladies, and that is Wamuchomba. Wamuchomba has come out to be a critique of the Kenya Kwanza regime. Remember, she is a member of parliament of UDA party, which the President William Ruto, is the head. That is the governing party of Kenya. But she is raising some key issues that we need to look at. Because the one is the fact that this housing levy has been there for quite some time. Let me say, let's give it more than five months. And within those 5 months, this housing levy has been collecting more than 5 billion in a month. So in 5 months, that is close to over 25 billion shillings. So tell me, if you look at the houses that have been launched, that are being built, do you think we have utilized 25 billion shillings? And are we going to get value for the money that we are giving to the government? Because look at some of the projects that have been launched, like the one in Uhuru, the one that was launched yesterday, and other regions like in Kiambu. There was one which was launched in Nakuru, and if you look at it keenly, that housing project was launched by the former President Uhuru Kenyatta. That is a fact. And if we go back to the housing fund under President Uhuru Kenyatta, that housing fund, or no, it was not a fund, that housing project was done by the government itself without even involving other Kenyans, such that if you are a willing buyer, then you would go and purchase that affordable housing project under Boma Yangu without the government levying a tax on it. So you would save, then put a deposit, then come and within that mix, you'd be able to find a way in which you'd be able to repay, either as a mortgage, or if you have cash, then you'll be able to pay up the house and take it up. So what Kenyans do not understand is why they are being forced into a project that they feel is not going to be beneficial to them in the long term. Because as at now, Kenyans are pressed when it comes to matters finance. Kenyans are like, should you pay for school fees? Should you pay for this housing levy? Then there is the NSSF, there is a health something. It's a lot of money for the people who are employed. And then at the end of it, the cost of electricity, the cost of fuel has also gone high. So at the end of it, you look at what Kenyans are left with from their salaries, you're left with completely nothing. So Kenyans have to readjust in the way that they are spending their money. And this is the elephant in the room. And if you watch that video by President Ruto, it's like he was trying to force those who were in that rally to agree with him. But the response tells it all. Some of these guys, however, some of them might be in the formal employment sector. Some of them are in the informal sector. The key issues that President Ruto needed to have addressed are how to get these guys into employment, not the housing level. So that frustration that comes out is due to the fact that the president has not been able to carry Kenyans along, and the fact that he has not been able to come up with a plan that will be beneficial to so many Kenyans. Kenyans are not buying into this idea, and it feels like he has to. Because if he comes up with another project, this was like a flagship project for him. If it is frustrated, then it means he'll have to come up with another idea heading to 2027. And as you have seen right now, it's like you're already in the campaign mode. So if this fails, then he will be decampaigned using his failures, using some of the projects that he has failed to deliver to Kenyans. So that is why. But later in the day, they've talked about going back to the courts to go and challenge it in the Supreme Court. So we'll keep monitoring what is going on in the courts of law, and then we'll keep you guys posted. But I hope we will go through the normal process, the normal legal process, until this is resolved. There are also talks that they have started the public participation so that they can come up with an act in Parliament, so that at the end of it, they have another act of Parliament that they will use to put some levies on Kenyans. But this has also been stopped by another court of law in Kisumu. But we'll be monitoring all this at the end of the day and keep you posted. So, ladies and gentlemen, keep it here for more updates on the housing levy. That is all from us today. If you are new here, kindly hit the subscribe button and the notification bell down below so that you can be notified when we post a new video. Until next time, bye-bye.